Welcome to Flip Classroom. Flip Classroom is a dynamic, learner-centered, interactive, and more personalized strategy of teaching. It is a product of blended learning, which is a combination of traditional and online learning process, creating a more personalized and active learning atmosphere. Flipped Classroom is the inversion of traditional teaching methods, providing lectures online and setting a more active learning process in the classroom. In the traditional classroom model, the learning environment is teacher-centered, having the teacher stand in front of the class and the students seated, listening, taking down notes, or sometimes even sleeping. That's boring. But meanwhile, in the flipped classroom model, the students learn the content outside of class time through online learning. Here, they become the center of class time as they engage in active learning, while their teacher serves as their facilitator who guides them in their tasks. The history of flipped learning dates back to the year 2007, when two teachers from Woodland Park High School, Colorado, introduced the term flipped classroom. The concept originated from teachers Aaron Sams and John Bergman, who realized that class time would be more utilized by conducting activities to apply and explore the lectures rather than didactic teaching. Aaron and John used this method of teaching to provide their students educational materials which they can study and review anytime they want. Aside from this, it is also their reaction to assure that students who skip classes won't have an excuse for missing the previous lectures. This promotes active learning among students and teachers, maximizing their class time with undertakings that will test students' abilities in applying what they have learned at home. What is active learning? Active learning is based on the theory of constructivism, which believes that learners create or construct their own understanding. According to Bonwell and Asen in their book, Active Learning: Creating Excitement in the Classroom, the strategies of active learning can be described as instructional activities involving students in doing things and thinking about what they are doing. Here, the teacher becomes not just a provider of lessons, but an activator of knowledge to the student. This is a method of learning that centers on the application of students rather than the transmission of information. Active learning is always student-centered or learner-centered learning, focusing on the student's comprehension and practical application of the subject. Active learning is inquiry-based or problem-based, which means that students are encouraged to ask questions and are faced with scientific, mathematical, or critical problems that will help students engage, think, and develop problem-solving skills. This technique further develops students' analyzing and concluding skills, as well as their ability to apply and reflect on theoretical frameworks. Last, but definitely not the least, active learning promotes experiential learning, where the value of experiences are treated as learning curves. What is online learning? It is basically the process of acquiring knowledge online. Here, the personal interaction between a teacher and a student is replaced by the learning materials that are provided online. So the students and teacher here are no longer required to be both physically present in class for lectures. Flipped Classroom has two main objectives. First is to create engaging and interactive environment that is student-centered. And second is to focus on deeper connections and not just basic rote memorization and practice. Definitely, students and teachers can benefit a lot from Flipped Classroom. The advantages of Flipped Classroom are: it keeps students more engaged. It allows students to work at their own pace, allowing them to review, take notes, and even fast forward to next topics. Teachers give more personalized attention. Lessons are accessible anytime. Practice, application, and working with content is done in class. Students come to class ready to discuss, and students practice communication and collaboration skills. However, flipped classroom is also faced with challenges, such as the fluctuation of internet accessibility. There is no guarantee that the students will watch lectures at home. Students spend more time in front of screens instead of people. Heavy reliance on student motivation, and it creates a digital divide, especially to students with low income. To sum it all up, flipped classroom is the inversion of traditional classroom methods through blended learning, which is a combination of both the traditional and online teaching methods, creating an active learning environment for students and teachers.